Okay, the aim of these first activities is to remind you why do we use equations to define lines. So why is this bright green vertical line called x equals 3? At any time you can double click on the spreadsheet if you'd rather work in GeoGebra itself, and provided you've got GeoGebra downloaded on your computers, it will open in that program. If you don't, you can download it for free. There's a link on the activity page, or if you don't want to use the software, you can just use it directly from this website on the embedded pages. Okay, so when I drag point A, if I just scroll all the way to the left on the spreadsheet here, that's the x-coordinate of point A and that's the y-coordinate. In GeoGebra 3.2 you can't label the columns and trace underneath. You can in later versions like 4.0. So I'm going to drag point A and its coordinates appear there. There's its x, there's its y. You decide why that's called x equals 3. You're going to do the same for y equals -1. Just go along to column C and column D. That's the x-coordinate, that's the y-coordinate of point B here, and when you drag it, there's the coordinates you decide. Let's have a look at diagonal lines. Okay, here we have diagonal lines. I put the trace on, so I hovered over the point, right click and trace on. So the difference this time, because I want you to also see the geometric effects at the same time, not just the coordinates. Why is this line called y equals x? Well, if you drag that and I scroll right over to the left again, there's the x-coordinate of point A, there's a y-coordinate. I can drag that and sure enough, this sometimes happens, it's appeared in E and F. There's the x-coordinate, there's the y-coordinate, and you can see what the relationship and why that might be called y equals x. Let's try the same thing for the next diagonal line, so drag that up to you to decide. A point here, it might be hard to see the relationship with these funny numbers. They're not always obvious, numbers like that, so you can just make it go up in halves. So I went options, point capturing and on grid, and now when I drag point B it will only do half units, and that should make it easier to see what the relationship is. Up to you to decide. Okay, the last activity, so hopefully you've now been reminded of why we use equations of lines to define lines. You're going to drag point A, but before you do, you're going to right click over it. Now look, my menu's in French. That's on purpose to show you that in GeoGebra you can at any time change the language. So I'm going to go down to language. Many of you using this program, your first language may not be English, it certainly may not be French, and I'm going to go to E for English. Okay, in French, English is anglais. Anglais starts with an A. Okay, but I won't find English if I look under A. You have to use the English word for each language. So English UK. Okay, and now when I right click, all that menus are in English. So I want the trace on, and I also want to trace it to the spreadsheet. Great, so there's the x-coordinate, there's the y-coordinate for point A. You drag it, you work out what the equation of that line that A is moving along. Same for B and C, they're moving on a line. You find out what equation. When you've done that, you can copy it, so Control C, or highlight the ones you want, and then right click and copy. Go to the worksheet, scroll down to the bottom of the first side, and you need to click when this is a four-headed arrow there, and Control V, and it will just paste the coordinates in. Do that for each point and see if you can spot what the relationship is between those coordinates, and therefore what the equation of each of those lines that they're moving along might be. Over to you, enjoy exploring.